Assalamualaikum and a very good morning student. I'm teacher Azira, and as for today, we are going to learn about a topic, a very interesting one. It is environment sustainability. And at the end of the lesson, students should be able to at least three. Why is it a good idea to recycle leftover food? And also you can come out with one example how to recycle leftover food. You also be hearing an audio 6-minute English. It's a program, it's an audio which discuss about interesting topic. So now let's start. Okay, now this week's question. Before we start with the audio and the listening part, I want you to answer this question. How much of the world's food is wasted each year? Is it a half? Is it a third? Or is it a quarter? Give it a try. It's okay. You guess first before you listen to the audio. It's like guessing. There is no right or wrong yet. Okay. Have you come across in your mind? Is it E? Is it half? Is it a third? World's food is wasted. Makanan yang dibazirkan setiap tahun. Berapa banyak? Okay. Guess, okay? I hope it's in your mind. Okay, now let's start with the audio.
This is a download from BBC Learning English. To find out more, visit our website.
6-Minute English
From BBC Learning English.
Hello and welcome to 6-Minute English, the show that brings you an interesting topic, authentic listening practice, and 6 new items of vocabulary. I'm Dan.
And I'm Neil. In this episode, we'll be discussing food waste. Just as soon as...
Neil, did you just throw the rest of that apple away?
Yeah. Well, it was quite a big one, and I couldn't finish it.
Neil, you know you shouldn't waste food.
Waste, meaning to throw away without consuming or using. It's only an apple. It's not the end of the world, Dan.
Well, that's where you could be wrong, my friend. Let me prove it to you with this week's question. How much of the world's food is wasted each year? A, a half, B, a third, or C, a quarter?
I'm not sure. I know it's a lot, so I'm going to say A, a half.
We'll find out if you're right or not at the end of this show. So the actual figure is 1.3 billion tons of food, which is enough to feed 1 billion hungry people. Where do you think all this food waste comes from?
Well, restaurants, I imagine. I mean, they can't give one customer's leftovers to another. That would be unhygienic.
Leftovers are the remains of food which has not been eaten. And while you're right, restaurants are not the main contributor to food waste.
Supermarkets. I bet they throw out loads of food once it goes past its sell-by date, or the date which it can be legally sold by.
Think closer to home.
It's us, isn't it?
Yes. In Europe, an incredible 53% of food waste comes from households, which results in 88 million tons of food waste a year. And I bet you can't guess what we do with it.
I want to say recycle, but I can see from your face, Dan, that it's not.
No. Unfortunately, it goes into landfills and decays.
A landfill is a place where rubbish is buried. I see, so the food rots, and this causes greenhouse gases, which lead to global warming and climate change.
Exactly, and the end of the world. But, remarkably, the European country of Denmark has managed to reduce its food waste by a very significant 25%.
That's impressive. How did that happen?
They attribute it to a woman called Selina Yule.
I think I've heard about her. She became a household name in Denmark overnight.
A household name is one which everybody knows, and that's right.
I thought she was Russian.
She is, but I'll let her explain.
I come from a country where there were food shortages. Back then in Moscow, communism collapsed. We had the collapse of infrastructure. We were not sure that we could get food on the table. And coming to Denmark, seeing this abundance, seeing this supermarkets filled with food. But then I was really shocked to see a lot of food getting wasted.
So, Selina grew up in Moscow at a time when there wasn't enough food because of the collapse of infrastructure, meaning the basic systems and services of a society, such as food transportation.
Then, when she moved to Denmark, she found an abundance, or more than enough, food. But she saw it being wasted.
So, she decided to do something about it?
Yep. She started a Facebook page in 2008 called Stop Wasting Food! And 9 years later, the Danish government credits her for their reduction in food waste.
How did she do it?
Well, lots of ideas, really. She convinced some supermarkets to stop selling their items in bulk so that people would buy only what they need. She's produced a leftovers cookbook, and she's working with 3 governments to set up an education program in schools.
Wow, she's a busy woman. So, how about you educate me with the answer to this week's question?
Sure. I asked you, how much of the world's food is wasted each year? Is it A, a half, B, a third, or C, a quarter?
And I said A, a half.
And I'm terribly sorry, mate, but you're wrong. The answer is B, a third.
Ah, well, it's not as bad as I thought it was, at least.
Shall we have a look at the vocabulary then?
Yes, let's. First, we had waste. If you waste something, you throw it away or lose it without using it or consuming it. Common things we waste are food, time, money, and energy. We also have some expressions with waste too. Can you think of one, Dan?
A waste of space is an expression which means a thing is completely without value. For example, I am a complete waste of space in the kitchen. I can't cook at all. Next, we had leftovers. Leftovers are the remains of food or a meal which have not been eaten. What do you tend to do with your leftovers, Neil?
Oh, I love leftovers. Sometimes I think they taste even better than the original meal.
I agree. Peter's a great example.
Then we had landfill. A landfill is a place where rubbish is dropped and buried. In colloquial English, we might say a dump. Do you ever take your rubbish to the dump, Dan?
Not if I can help it. I prefer to recycle as much as possible. I only go to the dump if I have to get rid of a large appliance, such as a fridge. Then we had a household name. To be a household name is to be well known by ordinary people of a particular place or culture. Can you think of a person who's a household name at the moment, Neil?
Oh, that's very easy. Donald Trump springs to mind. Everyone must know who he is. Then we had infrastructure. Infrastructure is the basic systems and services of a society, such as electricity supply, trains, and roads.
And finally, we had abundance. If you have an abundance of something, you have more than you need. Do you have anything in abundance, Neil?
Well, when it comes to my children, I have to have an abundance of patience. Well, most of the time. And that's the end of today's 6 Minute English. Please join us again soon.
And we're on social media too, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. See you there.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
6 Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Okay, as you listen to the audio just now, actually you have come across these words. Okay, the vocabulary listed here. Number 1, waste. What does it mean by waste? Waste is actually something you throw away or lose without using or consuming. So in other words, in Malay we say sampah, some sort of like that. Okay, leftover. What does it mean? Number 2, leftover. What does it mean by leftover? Leftover is the remaining of food or a meal which have not been eaten. For example, like your mother cook something. For example, like your mother cook rice at home, and at the end of the day, the rice is not finished, but it is remaining untouched. So this is what we call leftover. Sometimes you might throw the rice that you've not eaten on that day, or you buy pizza, and then you buy pizzas and then you can't finish it. So this is what we call leftover. Okay, landfill. What does it mean by landfill? Landfill, a place where rubbish is dropped or buried. Have you ever think where do your rubbish go. So this is the place where you dump everything there. Okay, maybe not you, the person in charge who come over to your house, pick up the rubbish. So all this rubbish will collect it and drop at a place. So this is what we call landfill. Okay, a household name. A household name means well known by ordinary people of a particular place or culture. Like for example, in our country, all of us do recognize Datuk Siti Nurhaliza. Am I right? Or in the world of Korean, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not really aware with K-pop or whatsoever, but people keep on saying Lisa. I don't really recognize her, but I do know Lisa name is quite famous among the K-pop industry in Korea or even in our country itself. So this is a household name. Okay, infrastructure. Infrastructure means the basic system and services of a society. Abundance, more than needed. Abundance is mean a lot. Okay, it's also been described in the program just now, 6-minute English. Just now, it's already given some examples. So I really hope that you get the meaning of this new vocabulary for today. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Okay, now as you listen to the audio just now, can you tell me how much of the world's food is wasted each year based on the program just now? Yes, very good. The answer is a third. Okay, so a third of food wasted each year is quite a lot actually, but at least it's not a half, which far more worse. Am I right? Okay, now take up your book. Do you have your book with you? We are going to use the same book, exercises book, your writing book last year. So use the same book. You may copy this down. Okay, I'm going to put aside my face here. All right, here would be good. Okay. All right. You can write down in your book for now. And what you need to do is match the words with the correct meaning. Okay? Waste, leftovers, landfill, a household name, infrastructure, abundance. It is best for you not to pick the answer yet. Do it by yourself, okay? And later on, I'm going to come up with a link in Google Classroom for you to upload your answer. Okay? All right. Okay. Okay, now girls. A question. Why it is a good idea to recycle leftover food? Do you have any idea? Why is it good to recycle leftover food? Why can't you just throw everything that you don't want to eat, throw in the dustbin, and we don't have to think about it anymore, some sort of like that? Why do you think is it a good idea to recycle leftover? I'm going to give you a few minutes. You can use your phone, your laptop, you can browse through the internet. Why is it a good idea to recycle leftover food? Okay, now I think you have done browsing through your internet or whatever. Okay, I give you some clue. Take a look at the picture here. Okay, take a look at this picture. What is it? Yes, landfill. Very good. Okay. Why do you think is it a good idea to recycle leftover food? What is it to do with landfill? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, it can reduce the smell emits or come out from the very unpleasant smell come from the landfill. Yes. So this is one of a good idea for you to recycle the leftover food. Okay. Let's take a look at the second picture here. So, why is it good to recycle leftover food? Yeah, you can see there's money. So, what to do with money? Do you think that by recycling leftover food will consume a lot of money? Okay, of course not. It's actually will save your money. Why am I saying so? For example, like you have leftover rice at home. Let's say you cook a pot of rice and then you only eat half that day. So there's remaining another half. So instead of throwing it away, usually Malaysian people will, what do they do with the leftover rice? In the morning, usually the mother will cook nasi goreng, fried rice, am I right? So it cut costs actually, reduce money rather than to buy breakfast outside, am I right? So you can recycle, that's what we call it. It saves money actually. Okay, let's take a look at this picture, the third one. Yes, the third one here. What can you see in this picture? A very good environment, yes. So, other reason is we can make a better environment. Am I right? Okay, now let's take a look at the fourth picture here. Okay, you can see sun. You can see the thermometer there with a very high temperature. So what can you say by looking at this picture? Why is it a good idea to recycle leftover food? Yes, you can reduce the global warming. Correct. So see, there are in about 4. I do believe that as you go browsing through the internet, you can find out a lot of other reasoning. Would you mind to write down in the comment below what are other reason why is it good to recycle leftover food? I'm going to share mine, okay? So number 1, as you can see in the very first, in the picture that I showed you just now, okay, number 1, it saves money, okay? It saves money in the below, okay? It saves money. It's better for the environment, of course. Reduce global warming. Reduce unpleasant odors from landfill. Do you know what's the meaning of odor? Odors is O-D-O-R-S. It means some kind of unpleasant smell. So when you want to describe about unpleasant smell, usually we say unpleasant odor, some sort of like that. Okay. Number 5, reduce landfill toxic gases move through soils. When you dump rubbish in a field, when you dump rubbish, so it may cause the soil being toxic, which is not good actually. So this is one of the reasons, because usually you throw leftover, usually it's going to end up in the landfill. Okay. Number 6, conserve energy and resources, preventing pollution involved in the growing means tanaman, manufacturing, transporting. Manufacturing is pengilangan, okay, transporting and selling foods, okay, and not to mention hauling the food waste and then landfilling it. So conserve energy and also resources. You akan memelihara itulah tenaga dan juga sumber. Okay, so all these are some of the reason why is it good to recycle leftover food. It's not just paper, tins, aluminium, cans, glasses being recycled. It's a good thing for you to recycle leftover food. And I do know there are some steps how to recycle leftover foods. Now let's check it out. Okay, how could you recycle leftover foods? Like below, what is it? Is it a macaroni? Spaghetti? Yeah, the second picture will be spaghetti. Okay, how could you recycle leftover food? I've named one just now. For example, the leftover rice. You can ask your mom to cook as nasi goreng or fried rice in the morning. So you are recycling the leftover rice. Okay, what are the ideas that you can think of to recycle leftover food? Yes, good try. Yeah, you can also use the internet, browse through how could you recycle leftover food. Okay, very good. Well done. Okay. Okay, I'm going to show mine. Okay, these are some of the way, the very first picture, as you can see here. Okay, the very first picture. Can you see the peel fruit, the fruit being peeled, all that kind of leftover vegetables, all this that you don't want, okay, you can come out it as fertilizer. I do think that you come across this in RBT. I think you learn about fertilizer. Am I right? It's an organic fertilizer, which is very good for the plant. Okay, all right, so fertilizer. Or you can also go feed to the chicken. Okay, if you have chicken. Okay, feed to chicken. Okay, like for example, leftover rice just now, or any leftover food that you have. Another thing is freeze the untouched leftover food so that you can eat it again, reheat, and you can still eat the food. So this is one, two, three of the way for you to recycle the leftover food. So that's it for today. Don't forget to complete your work by match the word just now that I asked you, and write down the question about why is it a good idea to recycle leftover food in your book. And also how to recycle the leftover food. Don't forget to write down in your exercise book, and later on I'm going to give you a link for you to submit your work in Google Classroom. Okay, that's all for today, girls. Bye. Assalamualaikum. We'll be seeing you soon.